Let's talk about the three main ways men destroy their lives. Now, I grew up in the projects and spent my 20s partying and wasting my life. Other than my amateur boxing career, I didn't have much going on for me, and I came dangerously close to falling victim to all of these. And I've seen many men who grew up around me, both friends and relatives, fall victim to at least one of these, and quite a few to all three. And look, unless you end up doing a life in prison or you catch a sex charge with some kids, no life is beyond redemption. You can come back from anything, but if you make any of these mistakes, your life is going to be nearly impossible to repair. This ain't just for the young cats listening either. Old heads gotta avoid these things too. It just so happens that when you're young, you're stupid and you think you're invincible, so you're way more likely to mess up. And when you mess up young in certain ways, especially these ways, the negative results compound. Life comes at you fast, especially if you do any of these three things, including the bonus one I got for you at the end. Now, the easiest way to ruin your life is by getting with the wrong woman. And the only way you end up with the wrong woman is because you're thinking with your penis and just your penis. When the face is pretty, the body is right, and the sex game is tight, you'll look at a woman through rose-colored glasses. The problem with rose-colored glasses is that they make all the red flags look normal. The wrong relationship can also get you behind bars in quite a few ways. First, there's the way that probably immediately came to mind. When a devious chick will call the police on you and say that you put your hands on her, but you didn't do shit except maybe raise your voice. Then there's the other way. You actually hit her. And it doesn't matter if it's in self-defense or a fit of rage, you're going to jail and you won't have anyone to blame but yourself. And look, man, I get it. Once I dated a woman who was so obnoxious and disrespectful that she actually made me, who is normally calm and stoic, almost to the point of passivity, think about hitting her. I remember standing there and I was like, the devil and the angel on my shoulders, the way they do in the old cartoons. The angel was like, please don't be so damn stupid. This will ruin your life. And the devil was like, yo, if you're still off on it right now, you'll feel so much better. Fortunately, I'm afraid of prison, and she was only like 5'3", so I just walked off. And why was I with her in the first place? Well, I wasn't worth shit, and she was a badass Brazilian with a thin waist, pretty face, and a big behind. But she was psycho, and I only ended up with her because, being the not shit human that I was at that time, I actually started hooking up with her when she was dating one of my homies. Now, I'm not proud of that at all, but I was 22 and I didn't grow up with any sense of role models or loyalty, so I did some low down shit. By the way, I got lucky. If you smash the wrong dude's girl, you won't have a life to fix anymore. Or at the very least, you'll have to fix it in a way that is way beyond any YouTube video and left to the hands of modern medicine. I got a lot more stories about the lessons I learned dealing with this woman, so hit the subscribe and like button if you want to hear more of those later. Also, if you're having trouble reading people and picking up the best humans to hang out with, romantically or platonically, check out my Stoic Street Smarts Blueprint. In that email course, I use my experiences growing up in the hood, boxing, getting sober, and ultimately fixing my life to teach you how to manage risk, build relationships, and face reality. It's 2 lessons delivered to your inbox and your email. We correspond via that input, and I get back to you. Check it out at the link in the pinned comment. Now back to the main mission. If you're careless enough to knock up a girl like this, the worst types will use your kids against you in a court of law, like a witness for the prosecution getting them to lie and say all types of wild mess to cause you to lose custody. And that's assuming she wants custody or is a good mother in the first place. Some women treat their children like expensive jewelry, cute to show off, but not worth all the money required or not really necessary for the whole outfit anyway. If you have children with a woman who either lacks the ability or desire to be a mother, you'll find yourself at best as effectively a single dad and at worst taking care of 2 children, the one you produced and the one you couldn't resist because she came in the body of an adult. In either situation, it's going to be hard to make any improvements in your life because of the financial and emotional pressure. Either the courts are going to take your money by force or you're going to be forced to pay for everything. And if you got it like that, cool. But if you do, then this part of the message ain't really for you anyway. And we haven't even talked about what divorce hell is like. I know a cat who had to pay 15 grand a month in alimony and child support combined. Even if you got it like that, imagine having to pay your ex who is a piece of dirt anyway. And if you ain't got it like that, you're going to be in a bad financial position for the rest of your days. Now, if you ain't in that deal with her, the wrong woman can get other men to try and hurt you. Remember the story about Travis Rudolph, the NFL wide receiver whose girlfriend, in a fit of jealousy, called her brother and his friends to shoot him up. Fortunately, Travis had his brother and they were both packing heaters, so It could have turned out way worse for Travis. The crazy thing about the Travis Rudolph story is that the dude was raised in a solid 2-parent household with stable role models and he still got caught up. That's how powerful the sex drive of a young man can be. My man Flimlo Raps did a great video about this story. If you want to learn more about it, I dropped the link in the description. But to make a sad story short, Travis ended up killing one of the dudes. That's terrible, but it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. On that note, don't get arrested. Having a criminal record makes it nearly impossible for you to do anything to improve your life. Yes, you can find a job, but it's a hell of a lot easier to find one if you don't have to worry about failing a criminal background check. If you ever want to go back to school, many schools won't accept someone with a criminal record. And for the ones that do, getting financial aid will be impossible except for the most innocent of crimes and only after some time has passed. And that's time you don't have. You can do manual labor or try and get into the trades, but some of the jobs available won't let you come onto the site. If you want to see the world, there are some countries that won't ever let you visit, or if they let you, the hoops you'll have to go through will make you just say to hell with it. I remember my first time driving with my then girlfriend and our wife in Canada and feeling a huge sigh of relief that I got my shit together before I got a DUI or worse, because Lord knows I drove drunk more than enough times to have seriously ruined my life. I just got lucky. On that note, drinking and driving is the dumbest thing I've ever done, but I was a full-blown alcoholic. Fortunately, I got sober. It'll be 11 years this December, and the one thing you got to remember is that when you drink and drive, you have to keep getting lucky. Law enforcement only has to get lucky once to ruin your life. Getting a criminal record ruins your earning potential almost as much as a bad divorce or child support. But getting screwed by divorce and family court is only a figure of speech. During your time in jail, you might have to fend off a few beauty bandits. Yeah, I know what you're saying right now. That ain't never going to happen to me. A man going to have to kill me before he take my manhood. Or my favorite is when dudes come out talking about jail ain't even like that. They just put that shit in movies. I say that too if I ain't want anyone to think I was getting my cheeks busted or I was doing the cheek busting. But here's a quick stat for you. In a survey of a Nebraska prison, 22%, a little more than 1 in 5 of inmates said they had been forced to do something sexual. Let's assume for simple math that it's not a gangbang. That means over 40% of dudes who've been inside were either playing that tune or were forced to sing along. It reminds me of an old Chris Rock joke where he says, the Spice Girls sold 10 million albums, but I can't find anyone who admits to buying one. Now, the easiest way to make sure you never have to see the inside of a prison and risk being someone's bottom is to avoid the drugs and alcohol. I know a lot of cats are going to push back about the booze, but as someone who's coming up on 11 years sober this December, I can tell you with 100% certainty that my life is better because I don't drink. You completely eliminate the possibility of getting into a drunken fight, getting a DUI, misinterpreting consent signals, or just doing anything stupid you know is a bad idea. If you're a young cat under the age of 25 listening to this, I know this one sounds like a tall order because everyone around you is drinking, and it seems like that's the only way to socialize and meet women. But trust me when I tell you this, if you start doing things to be interesting, have the courage to stand your ground, and develop real social skills instead of liquid courage, not only will you meet more women, you'll meet higher quality women. I lost a lot of girls being a drunk asshole, but I never lost one girl because I was sober and in control. With that out of the way, let me talk about the drugs thing real quick. Aside from drugs being something that will definitely get you put in jail and make you more likely to become some dude sissy, there's also the issue of the type of people you have to interact with when you're in the habit of procuring hard drugs. You don't buy Coke, Rock, Ice, Smack, or Dust from a dispensary. You usually buy it in a place where you're likely to get either arrested, robbed, or murdered because you wore the wrong colors. And to be honest, those are arguably better outcomes than what happens to your life if you start chasing a dragon. My personal issue was alcohol, and it almost cost me my friends and my freedom. But I was lucky that I was able to kick the habit before that habit kicked me. I got an uncle that died from a fentanyl overdose, but before he kicked it, he had turned into a hardcore bum. I'd ran into him like 5 years before, but I didn't recognize him because the streets are no joke, and they're even less funny when your soul is tied up like a tourniquet in a junkie's arm. Here's a bonus tip for you, by the way, that I promised from the beginning. Don't take out excessive consumer debt. It's not the uphill battle that the other three are, but it's damn tough to dig yourself out of it while you're trying to get ahead of life. I grew up poor as hell in the projects and had to learn the hard way how things like credit card interest works. This is going to be obvious and well known to most of you, but just bear with me. When you use your credit card to pay for something, you got to pay that money back. And if you don't pay your balance back in time before the next billing cycle, you're going to be charged interest on that balance. So now you got to pay back what you spent plus the juice of the vig, or whatever word you use for the idea. Like I said earlier, if you make these mistakes, you can overcome them. You can get your life back on track. If that's you, then this video here will talk about what to do in terms of real self-improvement that helped me get my life back on track. Peace out. And remember, the rest is up to you.